I've taken tens of thousands of trades over my 6-year trading journey, and I've broken through every psychological barrier that keeps 90% of traders from ever becoming profitable. The difference between that broke immigrant kid and the trader I am today wasn't finding some secret strategy or magical indicator. It was mastering the one thing that makes up 90% of trading success, which is psychology. And I guarantee you right now, your trading psychology is sabotaging your profit. You're probably revenge trading after losses, getting overconfident after wins, or feeling like you're gambling instead of trading with a clear plan. Here's what most traders don't understand. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your mind isn't right, you will still lose money. I learned this the hard way after blowing through my savings and nearly giving up on my dream of financial freedom. But in this video, I'm going to share the 5 most critical psychological lessons for my 6 years of trading that has the potential to 3 to 5x your trading profits. If you can't commit 15 minutes to transforming your trading psychology, then honestly, you're telling me everything I need to know about why you're still struggling. So let's lock in, boys, and get right into it. I created a micro chart where I'll be taking you over 6 years of trading psychology in just 15 minutes. So in this chart, I will be showing you exactly the mistakes that a lot of trader faces during their trading journey. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the very beginning. A lot of traders, they trade to feel better, not to trade. What exactly do I mean by this? So most traders don't realize they're using trading as emotional relief. The market becomes a place to escape discomfort after a loss. This is exactly known as revenge trading, and this is what exactly is killing your results. A lot of you guys unfortunately, what you do is the moment you take a loss is the moment everything goes wrong, everything goes south. This is where everything triggers. If you have a plan, you completely escape that plan, you completely ignore that plan, and what do? You go ahead and revenge trade. You take another trade, hoping that you win back whatever you lost. Or you start freaking out that there's absolutely no way that you'd have lost, especially after trying out so many strategies, especially after being in the market for so many years. You have to understand, you cannot mix ego with trading. That's what's killing 99% of traders. The way I do it, regardless of how I feel, regardless of how much money I've made in these markets and how much money I've lost in this market, it does not faze me. If today I make 100K per day or I lose 100K per day, it will not faze me. As soon as I close these charts, I'm done. I'm done, and I never think about it until the next day. And when I come back the next day, I come with a fresh mindset and zero expectation, good or bad. I don't recall yesterday, or I don't go based off yesterday's result. And you have to remember, after a loss, the urge to re-enter isn't about opportunity. It's about escaping the feeling of being a loser, regaining a sense of control, seeking quick emotional relief. So exactly what I told you earlier, if you are mixing ego with trading and you are escaping the feeling of being a loser, regaining a sense of control, or seeking quick emotional relief, chances are 99.9% of the time you will lose again. And guess what happened? You're gonna take a third trade to follow the same exact steps here. Escape the feeling of being a loser, regain a sense of control, or seek for a quick emotional relief. You cannot trade and use trading as a drug. It becomes a dopamine effect or a drug real quick, which is what takes us to the next step. And what happens is charts becomes an escape rather than a tool. This is exactly how dopamine addiction forms in trading. You lose, you feel bad, and you start clicking again, trading again for a momentary relief. Now imagine you ignore how you feel. You ignore how that one trade made you feel. All of this step will not continue happening again. All of these things that are happening will not happen again if you just simply ignore how you feel. This is why 97% of people fail in trading. And the reason why I'm so successful in this industry is because regardless of what happens that day, it does not faze me. I don't care if I made 10K or if I lost 10K. And you should be having the same type of mindset. Regardless of what happens to you, regardless of how many payouts you have blown and how many funding accounts you have blown or how many live accounts you have blown, it should not faze you. Don't come back the next day or the next week with the same expectation. You gotta understand, you need to detach your self-worth from trades. A lot of traders make this mistake where Every single win feels like validation, and every single loss feels like personal failures. You're not trading the market, you're trading your self esteem. What do I exactly mean by that? When I started out trading, I was gambling my self worth on every single entry and every single exit. Win will equal validation plus finally getting it. I would feel like I know this. I would literally feel like I am the best trader in the world just because I made somewhat money. But as soon as I would take a loss, everything will go south. I would legit be so upset that it will affect my personal life. I would be the one that you wouldn't be able to talk to. It will ruin my whole day, my whole week, and sometimes even my whole month. And what would that cause? That would legit cause blowing an account, losing even more, which led me to avoid trades out of fear, force setups to chase wins, break rules to protect my confidence, and prioritize feelings. And the lesson here is it's okay to feel disappointed after a loss, but it's not okay to tie those losses to your self-worth. It is completely fine to take a loss in trading. Every single person in trading takes a loss. I still take losses till this day, but I don't tie it to my self-worth anymore like I used to do. And once I stopped needing every trade to validate me, I could finally make decisions based on logic, not insecurity. I'm telling you, the moment I detached emotions and my self-ego and validation, everything clicked. Everything changed. Why? Because regardless of how I trade, regardless of the results for that day, it does not phase me. I do not enter a trade just because I feel the need to trade or I have to make back my losses. If I win, cool. And if I lose, there's always a next day, next week, and next month, or even next year. I'll take a break. I'll wait until next year and take a trade just so I am in peace. If I have to do that. Thank God till this day I haven't faced that. But if I do, for the sake of my psychology, I will generally wait a whole year to take another trade. And this is exactly what brings me to my next point. A lot of traders, they need to be constantly in a trade. Many traders fall into the trap of using trades as a way to feel productive or as a way to feel that they're doing something. When there are no setups, they interpret it as a lack of progress, which leads to forcing trades just to stay active or just to feel like they're doing something with their life. If there's no trades, guess what? Click exit out and call it a day. Come back the next day. You don't have to force a trade. You don't have to take a trade every single time. You don't have to be taking trade every single day. There's days that you don't have to trade. Last week I didn't trade at all. But 4 years ago, I would have forced myself to take a trade last week. And guess what would have happened? I would have gave away money to the market. Every single person that starts trading, their goal should be to take away money from the market, not give it back. And every single time you don't follow these steps or you do these steps, I promise you're going to be giving away money to the market. And a lot of traders, instead of following a plan, they scan for anything that looks good enough simply to avoid the discomfort of doing nothing. This often results in taking low quality setups, skipping confirmation, and overtrading out of impatience, which is why it's very important to master the discipline of waiting. We have to understand you get paid to wait. Patience pays. Every single time you wait to take a trade, it pays. But every single time you run after a trade, you pay. The more comfortable you are with waiting, the more power and clarity you will have when a true opportunity appears. Why? Because you waited to hunt. You waited for that target to reach your level instead of you chasing the price. So if you don't learn to be okay with waiting, you will keep taking low quality trades just to feel productive. Me personally, that one thing that keeps me sane is I always tell myself, if I wait and if I wait for price to come to me, I will have clear power and clarity on how to enter, why I need to enter, and I will see every confirmation. But every single time I chase price or I chase after the move, I will lose. Like 90% of the time, I will lose. So I learned this the hard way. And to avoid this, you need to learn to be okay with waiting. Otherwise, you will keep taking low quality trades just to feel productive. It's okay to not trade. It's okay to not trade for a whole week, even a month. but don't force a trade. Sometimes there's no moves in the market. Sometimes market is moving just sideways. Don't take a trade if you don't have to. You can't remove emotions. Many traders believe they need to be emotionless to succeed, but that's a complete myth. I used to think professional traders or good traders didn't feel anything, that they were cold and robotic. So when I felt fear or frustration to enter a trade, I thought something was wrong with me. You have to understand one thing, and that is the grass is always greener on the other side. Every single time I would watch these traders online or like talk to my friends, they would make it seem like they don't feel shit. They don't feel anything, or they don't feel scared to enter sometimes, or they don't feel the fear and frustration. But that's a complete myth. You're still, the feeling is still going to be there. Like, I still feel the same as how I used to feel, but the only difference is I am comfortable in my clothes now. I used to be not comfortable there. Does that make sense? I am comfortable by being uncomfortable. So I feel the same thing as I used to feel, but I'm just confident in it now. I can wear it or I can be comfortable in it. Makes sense? It's like walking up to a girl. When you walk up to a girl the first time, you're nervous as shit, and even the girl can tell you're nervous as fuck. But if you do it multiple times, you're still gonna feel nervous. That heartbeat is still gonna be there. But the only difference is now you can wear it. Now you're comfortable by being uncomfortable. So at the end of the day, you're not a robot. You're just a human being. Any regular human being feels emotions and they feel some type of way. You have to train yourself to notice the subtle signs before emotions turns into action. When I started to notice the early signs, my breathing would change, bro. I would literally grip the mouse so hard that sometimes I would legit break it. My left side of the mouse was always broken or always loose because of how much stress I used to face. And I would zoom in too much to the screen to like watch the price with like my eyes wide open like this. I'll be legit like this, and I would start talking to myself and I would start like pulling my hair and do like all these crazy shit. And when I caught those signs early, what I would do is I would simply take a breath, step away from the screen, and create space before reacting. And I keep on repeating this, and this legitimately became a habit. Now I am the same. If you guys go watch my videos or my reels on Instagram, regardless of how much money I make or lose, this is how you will see me. Exactly like this. I will not react. I will not go crazy how I used to. And I will just be a simple, stoic man that's doing his duty, which is just trade. You have to understand, you do not need to remove your emotions. What you need to do is build awareness of them. That awareness is what keeps you from turning a normal trade into a destructive one. So this is our final step. Discipline off the charts equals discipline on charts. I'm going to read this again. Discipline off the charts equals discipline on charts. The quality of your trading session is mostly decided by the routine you follow before it begins. A very good example is this bald man right here. The reason why he's so successful in his personal life is because of how he is off camera. And what I mean by that is being a trader is not just being a trader, it's a lifestyle. I always tell this to my students in the chart cave. Being a trader is a lifestyle than just being a trader. A lot of people get into this industry, they think if I click a bunch of buttons, I am good. You have to understand this is the easiest way, but the hardest way to make money. Yes, of course, you're under AC, you're looking at a monitor, and you're clicking a bunch of buttons, but you need to be so disciplined outside of trading so you can implement that same mentality, same mindset to trading. If you're not so disciplined in your own personal life, you're not going to get very far in trading as well. And this is exactly what would happen to me. The trades I forced usually came after I stayed up late, skipped my journaling, didn't plan my day, or just felt mentally off. Let's say there was an event that was going on in my personal life. I would take that event into trading, right? Or same thing, if I took a loss today, I'll take that same event into my personal life. So you can never mix both. Step number one. Or let's say I stayed up late, right? The next morning, I'll be fatigued, I will feel off. And this is exactly what would happen to me every single time I forced a trade. Usually came after I stayed up late, didn't follow my diet, or didn't go to the gym, or I skipped my journaling, or I didn't plan my day out the way I supposed to be, or I just mentally felt off, or some event happened in my life. I would take that event and mix it with trading. And that would lead me to either forcing a trade or gambling or just hitting on the market. Like 90% of the time, my results for that day would be negative. I would end up red. You have to truly understand this. The market only reveals the version of yourself you bring to the desk. So, whatever version you are outside of trading, that's the version you're going to be in trading as well, or being a trader. So, key areas to focus on before you trade: make sure you sleep 8 hours a day, at least 8 hours every single day. Quality sleep, clear journaling, and planning. Every single time you take a trade, I know this sounds boring and you've heard it before. You have to plan it out. You have to plan it out correctly. And before you take a trade, you have to plan out the trade and follow through that plan. And make sure you associate yourself in a clean, neat environment, which is distraction free, quiet, and calm. And you can completely focus on the charts. And what really helps me out is a calm and focused mental state. Every single time before I take a trade, I go for a walk, like 10-minute, 15-minute early morning walk. That has really helped my psychology. I just go for like 10, 15 minutes walk around my neighborhood, and there's absolutely nobody early morning. It's just me in a quiet environment where I just plan out the whole day, where I just journal. So, going for a walk, being in a clean environment, all of these things will really help out and will maximize the outcome of every single trade. And you have to understand, discipline isn't only built at the charts, it's built in the small, boring decisions when no one's watching. If you're undisciplined outside of trading, you will bring the same chaos to the charts. Just like I said, whatever you are outside of trading, that's the type of trader you're going to be as well. So, starting from today, if you're not disciplined, if you're undisciplined outside of trading, make sure those rules that you set for yourself in trading becomes a lifestyle for yourself. If you need to get a task done, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what's going on in your life, get that task done with no expectation. Just like in trading, regardless of what's going on in your personal life, and regardless of how many losses have you taken or how many accounts have you blown, when you come to the charts, come with a clear state, clear mindset, and take a trade. And if you took a loss, who cares? Come back the next day. Just repeat. And every time you take a loss or win, go back and watch exactly what you did wrong or what you did right. And 90% of the time, if you took a loss, it's because of one of these reasons here. Alright boys, I know I do look a little different. I just had to pause the video to go get a new haircut real quick. But with that being said, that's 15 minutes of pure trading psychology wisdom that took me 6 years to learn the hard way. If you apply even half of what I just shared with you, you will be ahead of 90% of traders who are still fighting their own minds instead of the market. Look, if you want to learn how to make $10,000 per month without being glued to the charts or feeling like you're gambling, I've created a free training that takes you through exactly how to do just that. Go to the first link in the description to access it, and I will see you on the inside. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if this added value to your trading journey. Hit that like button to help the algorithm spread this to other traders who needs to hear this. And drop a comment below telling me which psychological barrier you're going to be working on first.